Hi friends, this is Roanne Digia Samuels, licensed psychotherapist. I'm back again with Ask This Filipina Therapist. If you are enjoying and liking these types of video, please like it, and that would just inspire me, even though I would continue to make it anyway. The question today is, how is the worldview of the Filipino? And when I say the Filipino, it's more like the Filipino culture versus the American culture. Someone who's American is shaped. Of course, there are a myriad of influences, from the way we are geographically located. So if you were born and raised in the Philippines, just the temperature there, the foods that you will be eating. But today I will talk more about the familial system, the family system, and the immediate collective around that. Of course, when we're talking about culture, there's always a range. It would be impossible to talk about individual differences because we are all very unique. So this is simply a collective expression. So let's talk about that. And but before we do, why is it important to understand how different our worldviews are, the American versus the Filipino? Often in our homes, because Filipinos are bilingual, we seem to be talking the same language, but we mean or interpret it in very different ways. And so it leads to a lot of confusion, many times hurt feeling. Another reason why this would be beneficial to understand is then you would understand that we self-soothe very differently. If it's your first time hearing that word, self-soothe, that simply means the way you calm yourself, how you soothe yourself. And so from a very collective culture versus a culture that's very individualistic, like the American culture, it would be very different. And from that standpoint, you could perhaps understand your mom, your tita, your dad better. Not that one culture is better than the other, not that one culture is better than the other, but that one strategy is more adaptive or more suitable for a specific environment. By the way, when I say American and Filipino, you could be of Filipino ancestry, but leaning more towards the more Americanized culture. So culture could be just traditions, how you see the world, your lifestyle. So it's not really hinged just on your ethnicity, at least as far as I'm speaking about it at this time. Finally, which is, there's really other reasons, but finally, just for this video, it really understanding your roots and how we seek and why we seek connection in a particular way. Understanding that allows you to understand your roots and thereby understanding your own cultural identity. So I'm going to begin, and I'm going to just do a quick illustration of how different or what shapes our worldview. And this is just one point of view, but this is fundamentally how we are very different from a familial and the collective, the immediate collective community around that family. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to grab my whiteboard for the American, okay? So you might be more familiar. So the house would represent the home, so the family. So in the American culture, the responsibility of the family is to prepare the child to be self-sufficient. So if you have a child and you have drop off that child, whether with Lola or in the daycare, the child is praise if the child is more independent and quote and unquote not too clingy. There is an expectation that the child at a certain age developmentally is able to separate from their caregivers and explore the world. So from the worldview of the American culture, that is a healthy form of development. So when the child is self-reliant, independent, then this allows the child to be a good citizen, if you will, to be an effective part of the community. So, from the home, the individual, and the community. So this is more the American organization or system in a very simplistic term, and how it shapes the way we see the world, which is quote and unquote our worldview. Now I'm gonna quickly erase that and show you how different it is from a Filipino worldview. So if you're a Filipino living in America and you have been influenced greatly by the American culture, you might understand this, but you might be influenced by a myriad of other influences as far as the mainstream culture from where you are located. So I want to emphasize again, there's a range, and this is a collective expression, but in general, even in the Filipino Constitution, right, the most important unit of the society is the family. So the family prepares the child, so this is one thing very different, to be a part of a group. So it's very important that the child can be a part of the group. So the moment a child enters school, we do have words, right? Barkada, kaibigan, and connoting a group orientation. I remember when I was in school, even if there's so many sections and there's usually a singing contest because, Filipinos like to sing. And one person per class. So let's say there's 10 classes. And if the person representing my class, if she wins, her trophy is not addressed to her, but addressed on behalf of the entire class. So the class could actually claim we won because she's a representative of that group. So it's very important for the family to prepare the child to be part of the group. And that includes reading cues, nonverbal especially, that Filipinos often use. And if you're interested in that, I have podcasts and some webinar around Pinoy love languages. Just check the links down below. And so, though in the worldview of the Filipino culture, if you prepare a child to be part of a group, then he can be perhaps self-sufficient, right? He could be a good citizen, a solo citizen. If you notice, the order is very different. For the American, it is the individual first before the group. And for the Filipino, it's the group first. To be an efficient member of the group helps one to be a fully developed individual. And it's kind of the opposite in the American Western culture in general. So comment below what you think about that. And of course, that's a very simplistic way, but it's very fundamental that also that we understand how it shapes all of us, and it may help you understand how, it may also help you understand expectations, norms, and tradition, and how someone who has been in the American culture is very much very specific about their own spacing, and then the other one is very specific about sharing their space. And so comment below what your thoughts are, and if you have any questions to this Filipino therapist, also leave that question below. Thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful day.